that's a.
when the audit comes, we can
Okay.
have a copy.
All right.
Let's say you're from ITC, that's
I-
good.
all right,
I hope
yes.
we can talk about the project
Yes.
today, so, perfect.
No worries.
I just made my teammates
Well,
Oh, yeah, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, anytime, whenever you wanna do that. And then you can either do public comment time, or you can do during the agenda item.
There was a lot of people that-
Yeah. Whatever works best for you guys, so. Maybe you're probably,
And they go,
just a lot of coming in late, and like, we don't know what to talk
I
about,
was,
so.
didn't realize you had to
I was gonna do, but they
This is
wanted
the
to.
clean
Yeah.
one, share roll.
We appreciate it, though.
I took an extra one
What's
for you
nice
guys
is
to
that
see.
you can take it and throw it in someplace in it. It's
Next
really
Tuesday,
hot.
it's from ITC guys.
Oh, okay. What's that?
ITC on the, stuff about rings, so we can
Oh,
ask
so we can,
questions.
Everything's
Learn what's going on.
so we can approve or disapprove. This stays out, this goes back.
I usually just.
So yeah, I think you can.
Oh, I was in here.
Yeah.
Heather, are we supposed to print the agendas ourselves now?
So, my thought is, I know she was gonna print less stuff, but.
Yes.
the
I got an
agenda's
answer
probably the
for
most
you.
important.
She's gonna print a couple of them, and if you want one, more than what we have out here, just walk over to the counter and they'll print, make copies for you.
We didn't see one, so we were gonna
I
share.
thought she was gonna not print everything.
Yeah.
though,
No,
like-
she was only gonna print like one or two
Yeah.
copies.
Oh,
I
okay.
usually try to read them and then put them back
Yeah.
down,
We're,
so.
we're in the
We've just been
saving,
going through a lot
Yeah.
of paper.
we're in the saving mode
It's
because
not
Right.
big agenda.
we're throwing away a lot of paper.
Right,
after
well,
the
I
meeting.
read and then put back up there to
Okay.
share, so I don't keep it all. Yep, and I can see how you would go through a lot.
Yeah, it should all be online, if you go
Yeah.
search Kane County, Iowa, it should all come up online too.
Let me get
Um,
into the
I'm
habit.
looking for a place to
I know,
go.
yep,
Big screen
yep, and
TVs.
maybe we could mention that we're doing a little less paper.
You don't think about it unless
What
it's
do you
your
think
printer
about?
A
paper.
place to put big screen TVs.
Oh, right up there, and right up there. Dun, dun, yeah, that'll be handy. And then just gonna be up there. Why not up there in the corner?
Because I can't see it.
Oh, you
I have to
can see
look
the
at Kirk
one.
first, then that.
Well, you get one big one right up there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So,
Well, they
yeah,
can have
we'll
one
see.
and two.
We'll see, just,
Even if they're medium screen TVs, it's not big.
I know that name.
but the thing is, you have to be real quiet.
You have to be.
You have to be real quiet because with the owl, if you
Yes,
talk,
exactly.
it focuses on you.
So it'd be a lot of motion back and forth.
It moves, yeah, so basically, the top is a 360, and the 360 will show everybody in the room. And then below it, it shows 3 pictures. And if you're talking, or you sneeze, or you
When does that start next
it's gonna be like,
When does that start?
well, hey, Karen, they got a program.
Yes,
Tim got a
yeah.
program,
Yeah,
right?
I think hopefully you guys should be able to play around with it this week.
Okay.
Well, oh, did you get the laptop too?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep, awesome.
I met Tim face to face while they were
Rick.
programming it.
Rick,
Rick,
Rick.
his new name is Tim. Okay, so yeah. If I got quiet.
Practicing.
Actually, that passed, although the state code says that you have to be quiet. Okay. Yes, Richard?
We're just listening to you.
How'd the budget meeting hearing things go? How have they been? You guys have a few more?
Enlightening.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You done or do you have a few more?
No, we're not done.
2 more days, right?
Yeah, a couple more days.
Or more.
Or more.
Yeah.
Karen wants us done yesterday.
Last week. Good morning. So I did not turn these lights on bright. You want them brighter? You need more light to see?
Doesn't bother me.
Good morning, Kurt. Hi. You sound sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good morning,
My
David.
turn.
I'm already
How are
done.
you?
I'm well, thank you.
Hi, Kurt.
Morning.
Okay.
Hey, Nancy,
Hey, Richard.
personal question. Do
I
you
thought you were
use
trying to kick me, and I was gonna pretend that it was him.
What's your past?
Is your phone an iPhone? Good. I tried to send you audio.
Oh, is there an extra one?
What we can do is if we
Well, I
together.
got my own.
Let me see, maybe it's.
Good morning.
Good, I'm sitting down. Okay, okay.
I'll be working on this.
I will scan my notes and send them to you.
Okay, yeah.
That helps at all.
Yeah, please do.
All right. Well, they're not notes. Yeah, they are. Scribbles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're pressers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I should have worked.
My life is awful.
I did that once. I had to wait like 2 months for new water.
She had a straight face.
I think we can get it. It's gonna be colder out.
Yeah.
I
Are you gonna hold up there or?
thought it would be easier going this way, but it didn't make any difference at all. Hi.
Just make sure it's out of gear.
You know, the problem is you can't make one of those chairs. You could, if you have to, right? You never know about that.
That was,
So maybe just a clerical thing that we.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And I'm just kidding, we got
That's
plenty
all
of chairs
online,
here,
so.
you know that.
I just always explain to everybody. You know.
The rocking chair, right? You can do the rocking chair.
That happens, no section.
we could do that in the approval of the agenda.
Dennis, I think I took the last agenda off of there.
Or public comments. you know, Yeah. I thought about that too. Sorry.
It's really weird. With a straight face.
Okay. No decisions. That's what I'm asking you.
Oh, yes.
I'm not asking.
You're telling?
Yeah.
Tell me if you're telling or tell me if you're asking.
At least you can see everything now, Heather.
And see everything?
Yes.
When I.
From sitting up there, now you can see everything.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
like an early, earliest ever. Earliest ever, right?
Been here maybe once or twice this early.
Mike, after reading your last article, I thought you wouldn't be here today. Uh-huh. You know, I vote for the double wide versus the small. Do I get a vote? Okay, that's my vote. That way you can just rise up to the east, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, Karen? When is Sharon McQuaid here? 'Cause I missed her.
I think she just left, she dropped some stuff off.
No, it says here that she was here to update the board.
She was gonna be
She
here,
was
but
pressed
she
up.
dropped stuff off and now she's left. She's not gonna stay.
Thank you. There you go. Gonna go around?
I'll go around this time, rather than sneak it through.
Morning, Mike.
Oh, no. Yes. Oh.
Yeah, well, Wednesday, I'll see what happens there. Yeah, exactly. There this year, so we'll see if that, I don't know.
It was the director of communications.
That's a good thing you're here. Room's full.
She said,
Standing room only.
there's,
Good to see you.
There's a chair up here, Casey.
Carolyn,
That's why you're sitting in the back. Carolyn, I have a gift for you. There you go. Only I would give you something like that. That's what you grow your own, right? No.
8:30, pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the docket is to approve the agenda, so I made a motion to approve the agenda.
so moved.
Been moved,
Second.
moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Any changes, corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comments, this time we ask for people from the public to speak. If you wish to speak, please keep your items respectful and without any personal attacks. Don't use any profane or obscene language, but we'd open the floor for public comments. Anybody has anything to say?
Hey, I'm Randy Randy Mullenbach, and I was here 2 years ago, and you were on board at that time, yeah. And I wanted to talk about blacktopping the gravel road over by the Wendland Quarry, the Highway 30, and from Marshall County line over to T47, which is the Garwin Blacktop. The reason I asked for this is safety. A lot of dust on that road, tremendous amount of dust. And that's and I was here 2 years ago telling you that Marshall County was gonna do it, their one last mile, which is East Main Street Road, which is just north of LeGrand. And it runs right into 290th Street or E35. And that's a farm and market road. And it takes you over to T47, just north of Heinbergers there. And Marshalltown got their mile done. It's done. It's beautiful. And we'd just like to see if we can't work something out with the engineer, which we got a new engineer now, because that's 2 years ago. If they can find some funding to finish out the 5-mile stretch from the Tama County line over to T47. That doesn't, we don't have any problem with the gravel trucks as far as their speed or anything like that. They do a very fine job. I think there's been calls years ago, but they keep it slowed down, but there's just so much dust. Even that traveling at 20, 30 mile an hour, they just roll a lot of dust, tremendous amount of dust. So it's a real safety issue, and if you could ever come over there, and you're my representative, Kurt, they always use dust control from the quarry out to Highway 30. There ain't a resident on that piece other than right up by Highway 30. So they know there's a traffic concern with dust. But the rest of us on that 5 mile piece, all gotta do our own dust control, which Tracy Tickey's here, my neighbor.
Standing right there, Randy.
He, it costs him $1,000 a year, it costs me $1,000 a year. And you still have dust. It's just something that you can't avoid. It's one of the highest traveled roads. I got maps here, which I wanna give to you, so you can take home and take a look at it, whatever. That I got from the DOT. There's a website on the DOT which you can click on every road in the county. And it tells you how much traffic is on that road. And these are from 2017 and 2021 is when all this data was. That's the best data I can find, the only data. You'll find that we actually have more traffic on that road than some of the blacktop roads in Tama County. Hard to believe that, but it's true. Just because of activity and people going from Marshalltown to, Tama Toledo on the back road. So I'd like to see if somebody would contact me, if I can help you through the process, or somebody can help me through the process. I know it costs money, I understand that, but it costs a lot of money to haul gravel all the time and blade them roads. That's very time consuming, blading roads, to keep them from being washboard and everything else. So, is there any consideration? Last time I was here, Kurt, you had said that had been something that had been talked about.
Yeah, we had some conversations with that's Ben, our engineer.
Oh, hi.
Well, yeah, I guess, let's see. Right now we have, the paving is from Highway 30 to the quarry. We don't really, at this moment, we do not have plans for the, I guess you're talking about the west to east portion.
Yes, yes.
So we do not have plans for that, but we have plans from the quarry to south to Highway 30.
Well, that's excellent because they've needed it for years.
Yeah.
And I believe Ben's been talking with Manats or Wendling.
Yeah.
And they're helping. Correct.
I still need to communicate,
Right. But
talk with them to see if we can maybe work something out to help us out.
do you have any idea when this might happen? Just to give him an idea.
I think I have a map up there, the 5-year plan. I think it's 2027, I believe, is that portion from, yep, right, keep going.
Right there.
Yep, and then.
2027.
Yes, so that would be fiscal year 2027, which would be the summer of 26. So.
Next summer.
Yeah, so I mean, that's no doubt, that's been needed for years, and that's a good start.
Yeah.
But, the percentage of the gravel does go to Highway 30, truck wise. But the other percentage goes our direction.
T47.
Well, T47 or over to
north, yeah.
north over to Marshalltown and Marshall County in that direction, Green Mountain, whatever. I mean, especially during the lime season when the farmers are hauling lime. I mean, it has to. I understand that. So, I know Marshall County found some funding someplace to do their 1 mile through either the state or the feds or something. So, is that possible? That could be looked into and put it in our 5-year plan to get this done? Because that quarry is a very active quarry, no question about it. That thing's grown leaps and bounds. It's got a long ways to go yet. So.
I would, I guess, have to take a look at making sure we get the, if we need to do any grading on that road, to try to make sure if we're gonna have, traffic, 55 miles per hour,
Well, it don't have to be
obviously,
50.
but, I mean, there's, some
Right.
sharper turns in there and whatnot that probably would need to be taken care of if we're.
Well, cause, people in other neighbors south of us, Wisconsin, they're all blacktop. And they ain't 55-mile-an-hour roads. They're just
They also
blacktop.
don't have, like,
Frost.
every mile
I know
gravel
that.
road.
I know that.
too.
But this is one really busy gravel road. So I'm not asking for every
Yep.
mile, you know, and, you know, just the softness of in the spring can be a real problem.
Yep.
You know, everybody sort of knows that, we're well over all that. But what is a bituminous road? It's another lower grade, a blacktop of some sort? Because when you look at this map, it'll tell you that on here, some are asphalt and some are bituminous.
That'd be like chip seal coat. I know the one just east of town here, is asphalt millings and then a seal coat on top.
But anything like that, just to control the dust, I mean, it would do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to, you know, I'm not the engineer, I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
but I think we can come up with something, I would hope, for that 5 miles. Cause we got like 14 residents on that 5 miles, actual houses sitting right there, every single one of them are having to do dust control. And it adds up, year after year after year, $1,000, you know, 10 years, 10 grand. But that still doesn't give you the safety of the road when you leave your little small area. You still gotta travel on the road, and it's just, you've got wind, it's fine, it'll blow the dust away. If you don't have wind, it just hangs. And you know, you drive behind these gravel trucks, it just hangs. That's all it is. So anyway, that's what I'm here for. I'd like to know if somebody's gonna contact me, so I know there's something being done.
Randy, I'd also like to add to that, last winter, I do open and closings for funeral services, and I had to get into Rose Hill Cemetery in Marshalltown because they were buried in snow like that. And when I go west by Dave Beans, that always drift in, pulling a one-ton truck and trailer with a mini on it, it's tough to get through stuff like that. So I did have to call the county out last year. Tom Doblock helped me get a hold of who I needed to get a hold of. And they came out and plowed it from the Montour quarry up to my place, so I'd be able to get down through that way, because down around Colas and around by the quarry, it tends to drift in halfway east and down in that area also. So, and if there would happen to be an emergency out there at any given time during a storm, it would be tough to get through if you had a bad storm.
And the other thing that we got out there is Oak Ridge. They got 6 to 7 events a year out there now. They got some high dollar trailers and campers, and it's a big deal. It would sure be nice to have them be able to drive on a little bit more blacktop to get where they're camping at. It's a money draw to the community. So anyway, that's where I'm at. And
I think we've always, the seal coat's always just kind of a Band-Aid. I know it's the cheaper way to go, but with that kind of truck traffic, I think if you decide to do anything, it needs to be blacktop.
Yeah, it needs to be
You know,
something
we'd be
significant.
fixing it, I think, more than anything.
Yeah.
Seal coat's just a problem waiting to happen
Yeah.
over time.
And then when we go blacktop, I know you gotta worry about the ditches, drainage, I mean, there will be grading involved, I would correct.
Yeah.
So,
well, so you agree with her?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. All right, that's all I have. So unless somebody got a question.
Roger Walker.
Thank you.
I'll try to keep mine under 3 minutes. On your agenda, you have cutting secondary road budget coming out of the general fund. I don't know if you're intending to cut the road budget or what you're doing, but our roads aren't in very good shape as the way it is. So I know 310th Street going east out of Toledo, that is a paved road that's completely falling apart. People are asking for 5 miles of blacktop. We can't take care of the ones we got. Everybody would love to have blacktop roads. I have 1,000 semi-loads of corn and beans going down a gravel road. I'd love to have a blacktop. I understand there's a budget and that's not feasible more than likely. But I would hope that we're not going to be cutting the road budget. because the roads aren't in the best shape the way it is. So that's basically, I'm hoping that that doesn't happen.
Karen Murray, I'm just gonna address the fact that, last year, 2024, Ben had said that the bridge on E43, which is Duponda, is going to be closed. And if that's still the case, then K Avenue, which I live on, which is the landfill road, is going to be used for everything that this gentleman just said, because it goes up to the Otter Creek, Park Lake thing, so, and what Roger said is true, our budget is bad, so I'm not looking for any miracles, I just wanted to bring that up because of the gentleman that just spoke, and that's about 2 miles of, it's gonna be awful, but we'll put up with whatever happens, so, but I think that's still coming, that's a bridge, is that still in the works for this year?
Correct.
Ben?
Well, February, we'll have contractors bid on it, so.
Okay, so, okay, and school buses too, landfill, RVs, thank you.
Just a real quick question for the almost last item on your agenda. I know you can't give names if it's a personal issue, but what is the topic of your closed session planned to be?
We'll release a statement after that.
Okay.
Mark, will that statement be during this meeting or the next?
Yeah, it'll be followed up. As soon as we can, there'll be a statement.
Okay, I got a quick comment about your agenda.
Okay.
I mean, I've been used to a lot of meetings, and whenever I was in a closed session, it was at the end of the meeting, so that when you came out of closed session, you automatically adjourned. So you would move the public comment section, the claims, to just in front of the closed session. Just a comment. That way, no action is taken after you come out of closed session, except to adjourn. That's just a comment. So, thank you.
Different topic, okay, Karen Murdy. So, Grid Shock was here a couple weeks ago, Public Health put it on at the meeting. Tonight, it's going to be in Washburn, which is not very far away, it's over by LaPorte, at 6:30 at Calvary Baptist Church. The reason I'm bringing that up is because it was said that Iowa pointed out at that documentary program that was about 2.5 hours. Iowa is number 3 in human trafficking, that's what this documentary is about. And that's horrible, but the reason that it is not because of 63, 80, and 30, it's because county attorneys and law enforcement have neglected to prosecute, arrest, they usually just send away. So I just wanted to point it out that tonight it will be in Washburn, Iowa, 6:30 at Calvary Baptist. Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Bill.
Bill Fairclough. I have a question on the hiring for the motor grader position. I have heard that Bennett had someone hired, and then a couple of board members decided they wanted someone different in there. Are the board members handpicking employees now? Is that what's going on? Is now he's hiring somebody that you want?
But we can't answer back specifics on stuff like it would cause for us to be in violation of chapter 21, as you know.
Just bringing that to the public's attention.
I would question who hired before January 1st of 2025. That would be my question following up with Bill. I know you can't answer that.
We always let the engineer hire who he wanted. We stayed out of it.
When I was sitting here, it usually went through human resources. When I was here for 3 years.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll close public comments. The next item on the agenda is to discuss and approve the 127-25 drainage canvas minutes and 127-25 regular minutes for this meeting. So we need a motion to do
I motion that we approve the drainage canvas minutes and the regular minutes.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. From the Toledo Library to give an update for funding.
Yep, she was here, but she decided not to stick around, so she's just handing out her update to you guys of what she would present. And I do have a copy of that if anybody wants a copy after the meeting.
Okay. All right, Ben.
Let me tie my shoe first.
Oh, sorry.
Weather's been decent to us these past couple weeks, so we're still out brush cutting, and we've been stocking ponds and rock and our Chelsea shed. We'll continue to do this, if the weather allows. Looks like Wednesday we might get some the ice. We'll see what transpires. Hopefully not, but weather dictates. So we also just with it being so nice, we kind of try to touch up some spots with our blades, just because not too many chances to do that in the winter. We figured we'd try to take this weird opportunity to touch up some spots. So and then we'll discuss once I hear back from getting a drug test and whatnot, the motor grader position. And then ITC has that utility permit, and then Chad's here from ITC, and we can kind of discuss kind of what they're, if you want to go ahead and stand and.
I'm Troy Weary with ITC, and my colleague Chad Levi is here as well. And ITC is an electric transmission company. We purchased Alliant Energy's transmission system in December of 2007, and Chad and I have been employees with ITC since 2008. I used to work at Alliant, and we're in the same department. In May of 2023, we held required public information meetings required by the Iowa Utilities Board, now the Iowa Utilities Commission. And this particular project starts in Marshall County, within the city limits of Marshalltown, at a substation called Twinkle. The line is called Morgan Valley Twinkle. The other substation is southwest of Cedar Rapids. So approximately 62 miles. There's an existing transmission line that we own that we are following the existing path all but about 3 miles of that whole path. So in essence, what we're looking to do is rebuild that line in place, but it'll be double circuited. So the existing circuit will be on one side of the wires, and we'll put another line on one side, so trying to lessen the impact to the landowners. As we sit today, we're at 99% easement acquisition, and we're going through the permitting process, and that's what we're here for. So getting road crossings, no structures will be in any county property, they'd be on private property. But certainly going through all the due diligence on the environmental side too. Are there eagles' nests, wetland delineation, those types of things. And so open to any questions. I try to stay as high level as possible on kind of who we are and what this project is about, but happy to answer any questions as well.
Perfect. Does it go through the Iowa Utility Board, or who's the approval that you're going through?
Yeah, Iowa Utilities Commission now, but
Okay.
yes, I still
Yep.
say board, yes.
Okay.
So we have to get a franchise anytime we change voltages, as well as even if we have an existing line, it's franchised for a certain amount of time, usually 25 years, and even if we don't do anything, you still have to refranchise that line, making sure we're keeping it into the standards of which they're holding us to. So.
Okay.
I had a quick question. The 3 miles, is that in Tama County?
It is not, it's in Benton. So we're basically following the existing east-west We also have a line that kind of parallels it, I don't know, maybe 6 miles to the south or 5 miles, it depends. And that 3 miles goes down and it joins an existing line that's there, and it'll be rebuilt as well to go into Cedar Rapids. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate you answering those questions. So the 1%, is that eminent domain, or what happens if they don't sign for this 1%?
Yeah, so you have to request the right of eminent domain, and it has to go to hearing. And we continue to try and get voluntary easements, that's our goal. But you know, we have 273 easements needed, and we're down to 3 across 4 counties, so.
Okay, is any of those in Tama County that have
One
not
is,
signed?
yes.
Okay. No, that was a lot of the info I wanted to know, cause, you know, we gotta make sure the landowners are okay.
Yes.
You know, I was curious, like you're saying, is it all in the same spot, is it moving, so your Tama County, to answer what you've talked to, David, it's all in the same spot for Tama County, the exact same
Yes.
transmission line
Correct.
route, you're just doubling it or putting a new one in?
Yes. And then our process would be obviously getting the permits, but you know, closer as we know when construction is gonna happen. There's a lot of variables there. Approval of the franchise, labor, supply chain issues right now, obviously steel and everything else. So those factors, once we kind of know that, we come back and meet with the engineer on, you know, make sure we have approval for haul routes. And, you know, again, all the general conversations, there's gonna be a bridge out, too much traffic there, access to the landowner, we'd have all that agreed upon, and agree upon like a road construction agreement with the county, so we're all in agreement on what roads we can use, and that you understand if there are any damages, we take care of those things. You know, all the conversations today on re-graveling, dust control, have all that approved up front too, so that'd kind of be the next phase closer to construction. There'd be no surprises, we'd come and meet with the county engineer and get that agreement approved through you as well.
Okay, when do you plan to build, you said?
Well, it's kind of a moving target because of everything, but hopefully be the beginning of 2026. Yeah. As they stand here today, January of 2026. But that could change on all the variables I talked about.
Okay. Are these transmission lines like federally funded at all with what Trump's doing in the administration? Is there any changes that could affect you guys?
We do not get any federal funding for that. So no, the projects at a higher level are across Iowa, so this project goes to Cedar Rapids. We've got 2 lines coming out of Cedar Rapids. One goes, continues on south to Iowa City, one goes into Muscatine County. And then we have a similar project from Ottumwa all the way over to Fort Madison. Again, almost all of those are on existing lines. We're double circuiting, but it's part of a larger build out just with infrastructure improvements.
I got one more quick question. It doesn't apply just to this line, but from an infrastructure point of view, how much of the infrastructure in Iowa does your group handle?
Yeah, so I don't know the specifics about Iowa. We're called ITC Midwest, so we've got about 83 counties in Iowa, the southern tier of counties in Minnesota, 1 line into Wisconsin, 6 counties in Illinois, 1 line into Missouri, and out of that footprint, we own, operate, maintain 6,600 miles of electric transmission lines from 69,000 volts up to 345,000 volts.
And in your opinion, how is Iowa situated for a stable and enduring electrical infrastructure?
That is a great question.
That's why I asked it.
Well, I told you I worked at Alliant, and I would say that you know, we're partners with Alliant and other utilities. It needed a lot of investment at that time, and you know, spent the last 16 and a half years here investing in that system, and our outages are down 77% in that amount of time. I'm very proud of that. I think the derecho tested us. You know, never saw that coming. I didn't even know what the word derecho meant. We had 1,200 poles down in that stretch. You know, as you know, it went from here all the way east. And I'm happy to say within 8 days, we had power restored for our transmission system. So even when disaster strikes, we feel that we're prepared to serve Iowans. Our president was in SEOC with the governor and utilities and all others across the state, and if there was something needed in Tama County or somewhere else, we went and took care of it there based on the needs of the people. And so We feel that it's very resilient. We also feel that when Mother Nature strikes, we're ready to respond because we're here.
Thank you.
Happy to answer any other questions too. Appreciate the
Are
opportunity.
you guys going through Meskwaki settlement at all?
We are not.
Okay.
We are not. We stay north. In essence, the line, I looked at Google Earth, we're about 3 miles north of exactly where we're sitting is about where the existing line is.
Okay, I just saw there was a memo that went out, I worked for them, and so there was a memo that went out that said ITC would be on their property, so I was just.
Yeah.
Edge clearing,
Right.
management.
We have a line that goes through there and Chad did it, so
okay.
it's some vegetation management clearing for an
Okay.
existing line there.
Tree trimming.
Good question.
I'm over the probation department and I had the probationary come in and had some of your gear on. And it had a hat they were giving away at the casino, so.
Got it.
They're making their. Any other questions? Okay. Drop down.
Do you guys wanna make a motion to?
Yeah,
act
that's,
on something?
yep, we're getting there.
Okay, sorry.
First item was to discussion of possible action to approve signing the utility permit application. And that's for ITC. It's just.
So moved.
It's been moved,
I'll second.
moved and seconded to approve the, ITC utility permit. Any other discussion?
Just that I thank you guys for coming in. That was nice to be able to ask you guys and have that communication, so thank you.
We're available anytime. Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
All right, further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. The motor grader position, we're not ready to act on that yet. I think we're waiting for some further stuff to come back. And so we'll, maybe just skip that one for now. And then, bid.
Here's the permit to sign. For ITC. Oh,
That's all right. Is that all?
yeah, that's, I mean,
It's
that's
just
all.
one
Yeah, I mean,
signature page.
it's one signature page, that's all the stuff that comes along with it. I guess the only other thing I didn't have on my, engineer office report is that, have a safety action plan workshop at 8:30 on Thursday, the 6th, in the engineer's office. There'll be, this is for, this safety action plan workshop is to help, kind of utilize various, it's for various purposes for applying for additional grant funding for safety funding, so that's kind of what it is for, so. It's 8:30 Thursday at the engineer's office. That's all I got.
Did you want to stick around for the,
Yeah.
or touch on the resolution to
Yeah,
increase
yeah.
secondary funds?
Yeah, I was planning on sticking around. Thanks.
Shit.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, well, let's drop down to that next agenda item, discussion of possible action for resolution to decrease secondary roads transfer from the general fund. Do you want to address it, Karen, about me too?
You go ahead.
Okay.
I'll back you up.
Do we need a motion so we can open the discussion?
No, we could just start with opening comments. So just opening comments as a general, statement from the board. We had, trying to find the paper for you. We had a, discussion or discovery, I guess, about a week ago that our financial situation is such that, we're not in a great financial position. We started, this board started in 2022, 2023 fiscal year, according to the budget that was proposed and passed last year and published in the newspaper, and then this is filed with the Department of Management. we started out with an ending fund balance of $14,563,000. Currently, the projected balance from that 14 million that we're projected to be at the end of June 30th of 2025 is negative $948,000. And so that's a spending rate of over $6 million a year, a burn rate, above what you had budgeted for. And so there's some grave concern for our financial condition. We're trying not to end up with negative $948,000 this year. So this board over the last week has been in discussions, particularly with department heads. We held a department head meeting last week to address and just ask that people, if they don't have any mandatory spending that has to be done, that they would cut back on some of that. A few ways that we can alleviate some of the ongoing pressure for the budget. We have a payroll that goes through about every 2 weeks for almost $400,000. Our ending fund balance as of, I think it was January 17th, was just over $400,000. We just barely had enough to cover payroll that went out last Friday. So this is the condition, I guess, and it prompted some quick action to try to figure out what are some ways that we can spend less money right now just to make it through to the end of 2024 or 2025 fiscal year, June 30th, so that we don't go in the hole. We don't collect taxes again starting until April 1st. And so this is I guess the overall picture. This is a public document that is available to anybody who wishes to see. We don't have a whole lot of detail as far as like where did all of this money go. But these are the numbers that were given, that were certified and filed with the state by the previous board. Therefore, one of the actions that could be taken, we have a maximum and a minimum amount that needed, or that can be transferred to the secondary roads budget from the general fund. And the minimum would be a certain amount, and then the maximum would be another certain amount. We would still be approving a funds transfer, but it would be for the minimum instead of the maximum, to try to leave as much money in the general fund to cover our ongoing everyday expenses. That's
Not for this fiscal year, then, when you're talking about reducing that, you're talking about this.
So there's 2 steps in the process. One is to try to not go bankrupt before the end of this year.
Correct.
That's what this is addressing. The second one is to address through budget cuts, what we can do to try to find some ending fund balance. A healthy ending fund balance is 20 to 25%. And that's generally accepted accounting practices. We won't have that at the end of at the end of our year here. So we're trying to do as much as we can just to break even, and then to start filling up the reserves again within the next budget.
So yes, it is this.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were saying for next, this was for this one, okay.
Yep.
So, Mark, we had a discussion yet?
I would take a motion in a second, and then we can start our discussion.
I'll motion that we, do a resolution to decrease the secondary roads transfer from the general fund.
It's been moved. Need a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded.
Good discussion.
That's, hold on just a second. Resolution 2-3-2025. A?
Correct.
I will read the resolution, and then we can plug in the numbers. Be it resolved that the Tama County Board of Supervisors hereby is approving to change the 2025 fiscal year transfer funds from general basic fund to secondary road fund as follows. From the general fund 001 to the secondary road fund of 0020, which is the designated fund. It authorizes the county treasurer to transfer a portion of the funds calculated by percentage each month after the apportionment of property taxes relieved by the general fund of a percent of property tax, not to exceed the limit of the total transfer stated above. Do you have the numbers for like the minimum versus maximum?
We don't have numbers for the minimum in that. No one could really come up with what that would be. We did research, and according to code, it sounds like if you do change those numbers, then his funding for the next fiscal year coming from the state could decrease.
70, has to be 75% of the general and then the basic. Two different levies I get from. Yes.
How much is that, dude?
The one, it's, I guess, roughly 200, that I get from the general for this fiscal year, and it's roughly the same. I can, I guess, bring those numbers to you. I don't know how much, I guess, I've gotten this year from the general off the top of my head.
And then about 98,000 this year.
Okay.
So the general basic, he usually only gets about 200,000 from general basic.
This was 195, 692.
Yeah.
There we go.
And then rural supplemental is what feeds the majority of it. So he's got about half of his general basic money this year.
So my part of the discussion here is how much can be moved without impacting next year's money? I mean, there's gotta be a certain amount, cause it says 75%.
It'd be of the rural basic
Yeah.
and then that portion.
So if we go down, so here's the number.
You could probably
I'm sorry for
take-
interrupting you.
No, you're fine, I don't feel like I'm doing myself any favors
Yeah.
because it's just frustrating.
Yeah.
So, you could probably take all of it, but I would prefer you not. Cause I mean, really, like, we're gonna, I'm gonna have to cut something, so I don't know where you guys are feeling that you need to cut. That's kind of where I'm at, so. I'm planning on being under budget this year, so, I don't know, I guess that's where I'm a little bit frustrated, cause, last year, from what the budget was and what was under, I met that and I was under, and same thing goes with this year, so that's, gets a little frustrated, cause, I'm trying to figure out where we're gonna get roughly 100,000, so I guess that's my take on it, so.
Ben, I don't think this isn't aimed at you or anything.
No, I'm not saying
We're
it's,
just trying to
I
figure out
know you guys are trying
what
to.
can we do and who can we pull
Yes,
from temporarily to figure
yes,
this out.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but I guess, I'm just, yeah.
So my point of this discussion is, what do we have to leave in his budget so that he doesn't get cut by the state next year? That's the most important question I have, because I don't want his budget cut based on what we do now. Right? We'll look at other places to get money, but.
Yeah, just as a point of clarification, we don't know that that's the case. We don't know that they would cut his budget.
But if it went under the 75%, they would take away road inspection.
I read the code that you guys did forward. I don't know that it applies to this situation.
It does in the sense that you are taking from that. I mean, we are at 100% because that we've, for the rural and then the general, I get, 100% of what I'm just letting you know that if we continue to go that route and keep going down and getting closer to that 75%, we're gonna lose road use tax dollars. So it is your choice to decide what you wanna do. The whatever's left, I think you said roughly 100. That is your choice to take. I would prefer you not, but that's your choice.
So in the grand scheme of things, secondary roads is a very large part of the county budget. It's between $10 and $11 million of a $26 million budget. And in the past, last year, our total revenue was $26,796,000 for the county, and our total expenditures were $32 million. So we took in $26 million and spent $32 million. And the year before that, it was $33 million that we had spent and brought in just over $26 million. And so the biggest budget to look at for cuts, the reason why we're looking more at the road budget is because that's where the most of the money sits. And moving forward, I think that's something that we can definitely look at. At this particular time, we don't know how a cut to his budget would impact future.
But Mark, I just wanna point out, his budget is also his own levies. It isn't, the only part coming from the general is just that little portion there, correct?
That 200,000.
Right, so he is the biggest budget, but yet it's not fully funded through the general or the supplemental or anything like that.
Exactly. There's a lot of money that comes from the state and the federal government for our roads, for the county. The portion that actually comes from tax dollars isn't the $10 million.
2.7 was this current fiscal year.
So we're talking about 100,000 is what's left. That's what's on the table, right? 100,000. And how are we sitting budget-wise without that 100,000? What does that do? I mean, so far weather's been good, but we don't know.
There's not, the previous fiscal year, county tax-wise from rural and general, we got 2.9. That was fiscal year 23. Then fiscal year 24, we got 2.7. So I lost 200 from with the assessments and all that stuff the state did to how much assessments can go up and all that sort of stuff. And then this year it's gonna be 2.8. So I'm still, it's not obviously going the correct direction. I'm getting, you wanna budget, 3-4% or, whatever inflation is, I'm not getting that in taxes. This year, I could probably, I just prefer not to, but it's your guys' decision. I did have a decent amount scheduled for fuel and whatnot, just as a, and so I could probably take it in that aspect of, got a question, Kurt?
Yeah, sorry for the voice. The 200 hours overtime, that should be a pretty good sum that you'll give back to the general, right? Or does he give that back to you? He does give that.
What was that about, you're saying?
Yeah, well, Lyle had that in his, and I think that's very, very generous. But I understand fluff. I think Lyle will probably use that as, well, hey, that's there, if something comes up, we can do this.
And, we talked about in the budget meeting, when I was looking at just 100 hours of overtime for an employee would be roughly a week and a half. They're 12 hours a day for 7 days straight. That's like a week and a half's worth of, and what's in the budget would be, I have 200 hours of roughly overtime, but then obviously that'd be like then 3 weeks of, like, guys are pretty much 12 hours a day straight, you know. And we've had winters like that. Luckily, these past couple of years we haven't, or had a little stretch there last year, but obviously that was minor in comparison to what normal.
That's just something we have to look at next year.
So just so I'm clear, we're only talking $100,000 out of his budget?
For now, like for the transfer. Is there a time requirement on when that would have to be transferred?
Just gets transferred every month.
Every month we transfer when we apportion.
So this would have to be done every month?
I mean, unless you're stopping it going forward, then you'll have to have a discussion every month to stop it for that month.
Any further questions? Or discussion? None? I guess, I would make known that there are other avenues to try to recoup some of this money, to put us back on a better, footing, at least from now until the end of the year. Some of those discussions are happening. I have a meeting scheduled for tonight, with, David and the 911, executive board, well, a couple other board members, to discuss, there was money appropriated last year, 1.6 million, that was to go toward the construction of a facility. And they're not looking to build anything in the immediate future, and so, some of that they might be willing to give back to us, for the time being, but we're going to discuss some of those things as we move forward. And so, this particular item, certainly could help, but, it isn't the overall, silver bullet that we need at this point. And so, I would also hate to jeopardize having any funding come down from the government, moving forward from the state for our roads. I don't wanna put that in jeopardy if we don't know what that looks like in the future, because our financial picture isn't going to get better, it's only gonna get worse if we act hastily and make decisions that could have longer term future impact in a negative way. So, we have a motion and a second on the table. We do need a roll call, and we don't have even any numbers in there, so, I don't know that we even have a vote, anything to vote on. And so, who made the motion? If you would just withdraw the motion, we can consider it down the road.
I would be happy to withdraw.
Okay, David withdraws his motion, and so that we, no vote, but this can be brought back, to be discussed when we have a better understanding of what our financial picture looks like. Okay, HR discussion, possible action to approve signing the union contracts. I think these ones at Casey.
I do not have those. Our union steward was gone on military. He got back today.
Okay.
So, I don't know if we need to table it for next week.
Okay.
But I should have all these signatures by the end of today.
Okay.
But that was kind of the only hang up, so.
Okay.
Take full responsibility.
Nope, that's okay.
Need a motion to table?
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to table this agenda item, and bring it back that's enough time? Okay, discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Discussion of possible action, to decrease the county contribution amount to the health fund. Once again, this was a portion that we would, look at. We appropriate a certain amount of money every, month or every fiscal year. We lay out in our budget that we would transfer to the health fund. We're self-insured, and this money goes to cover us, I guess, for insurance. I don't have a dollar amount on what that would be.
What we have?
No,
What would not be transferred?
$300,000
Okay,
a month,
okay.
that's a monthly amount.
Does that,
That's what we'll get?
That's what we'll be taking on loan, because that has to be paid back.
yeah, this money would have to be paid back, but it would give us some liquidity or fluidity, to be able to make ends meet until, but we would have to pay back to the fund, from what we understand.
It's general supplemental though, so the money would go back to general supplemental.
Yeah, and we started out, that fund, fluctuates more than, we were, I think in December, we were looking at like a $30,000 balance, and now we have in the general supplemental quite a bit.
Yeah, I think we're up to about 400,000 in general supplemental.
Well, we would need a motion and a second. Sorry, let me get back down there.
Are you gonna put a cap on how far down you go on that?
That was discussed.
Yeah, I think you probably need to decide something, cause I don't think you need to, I would strongly, recommend not going under 2 million at all. That puts you in a bad position if you have someone that's very ill. It can wipe out your fund in about 1 month. So that's why we try to keep it as high as we can.
Which makes sense.
Take a motion, to decrease the county contribution. You can put a cap on it if you'd like.
I think we should.
So are you motioning?
Yes.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to decrease the contribution amount to the health fund. As I understand the motion, it has a cap of not going under $2 million.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's safe.
We're gonna have discussion.
Discussion.
I need to know, don't we have something kick in when we hit a certain number?
So we always have stop loss.
Right. Is that
yes.
at 2 million?
Yeah, so that's at about 100,000, that starts kicking in. And just as an example, a few years back, we had someone come on and died within, I don't know, about 40 days. And without our stop loss, without us having a good amount there, and they wiped us out at about, it ended up costing us about $1 million. So, yeah, it's really important that we have the stop loss, and we monitor, again, that's why we do what we do with all the incentives and the flu shots and the stroke screening to try and get that up.
Thank you.
Okay, it's been moved second. Any other discussion or questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Discussion, possible action on, legal bills. I think those are going to be incorporated with our claims. There were a couple that we held out last week just to get a little bit more, information on. We were provided the information, so those will be, part of the, when we approve the claims.
They'll be probably next week's, I don't think Jenna put them in for this week's, I think we're.
It's here. You're talking about the 34,000?
No.
No, it was 1,200 and something.
So we can make a motion for next week
at
We
least
should
for
approve
next
it now
week.
and it'll go in next week.
1,200 something, 400
Yep,
something.
those are my claims,
Okay,
my two claims.
all right, well then we can make a motion and a second to pay those claims then?
I'll make that
For
motion.
next week?
For next
Yeah, I'll
week.
make that motion to pay
No,
those
it's
two
on the
claims
agenda
next
right
week.
now.
Okay. I will second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve those two claims for any further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Discussion and possible action to approve resolution to create an emergency medical services trust fund. This is, resolution number 2-3-2025B.
I'm the one that put that on the agenda, so since that EMS levy was approved by the voters, we now need to set up that trust fund so that funds are kept in there, and can earn some interest and some to offset that.
When would that start?
We're not gonna get the taxes till this next fall, so we'll get the account set up, and then once we start receiving those levies in, we'll go to that.
Yeah, it'll probably be September before money gets in there.
September before the money gets in there?
Before money gets there, yes.
Okay. So just as an understanding, we're approving a resolution, as the voters approved. And this is where we're going to put that money, into a trust fund. It won't be available until, taxes come in, and then after that, that's when the money can actually start being, utilized and accessed for that purpose.
I'll make the motion to create an emergency medical services trust fund.
It's been moved and seconded to establish or to pass resolution 2-3-2025B. Any further discussion? If not, roll call.
I was gonna do that later. Helmer,
Aye.
Turner,
Aye.
Knibble,
Aye.
Nolan,
Aye.
Gupta.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, discussion and possible action to approve Sherry Bessley to the Board of Health. Kurt Hilmer's been working on this.
Yeah, she showed interest, right away. And from everybody I've talked to, the consensus that she'll be a great asset. So, she's on board. When we, vote her in today, she will accept it.
All right.
Is that a motion?
I'll make that motion that we accept.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve Sherry Bessley to the Board of Health. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Discussion and possible action to change salary employees to bi-monthly pay cycle. Can you explain this a little more?
That came from our office, so, came to light when we had long-standing elected officials retire, that to get everybody appropriately paid with, just, cause you know, they're just allowed that certain amount for their salary, we need to get the salaried employees onto a bi-monthly schedule instead of every 2 weeks. To make it come out even.
Which days of the month will it be?
It'll be the 15th and the 30th.
Okay.
So it's basically
Still
the
get paid
same.
twice a month,
Get
yep,
paid
it's
twice
just
a
that
month.
you're set for the 15th and the 30th instead of every 2 weeks.
So that's a 25.
24
It's 24.
versus 26.
Yeah. And is that immediately or next fiscal year?
It'll be immediately.
Immediately.
It's basically just to make stuff balance out at the very end.
Yep, still, nobody's gonna get overpaid what was allotted for them, but it makes it cleaner.
Unless it's me.
Yep. This is something that had come up, there's an email that went out, there were a lot of confused people, and, we discussed it, they brought in the auditor, that had done our external audit, and, received some guidance from her on how to make that happen, so, hopefully after, if we, pass this, there'll be another email to go out and kinda explain to people what, in greater detail, what that means for them.
I'll make a motion, we accept that.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to change the salary employees to bi-monthly pay schedule. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Discussion and possible action to repeal the Tama County ordinance, VI.5, 6.5 wind energy conversion assessment ordinance pursuant to Iowa Code Chapter 427B.26.
Yeah, so this one in 2010, when the first wind projects came in, this ordinance was put in place. It's an option the counties can do. Ultimately, what 427B.26 does is it sets a set assessment year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. So they start at 0% of taxes they pay on that net acquisition cost, and it caps out at 30%. So it is an option that you can repeal it if it's not benefiting the county. I mean, we've all kind of seen with Vienna, it was TIFed, and so now we've been paying in on interest over the years. I think, as my understanding, legislation changed, so we actually are paying in more through all these years of this loan. So it's definitely not benefiting, in my opinion. But the only thing that I'm still working on, I'm working with ISAC, with Lucas Binkin, and also with the assessor. I kind of want to see concrete numbers, right? Because it's the other way is like, I think it's 90% of market value. But what is a market value of a turbine, right? If nobody's really done this repeal, what does that mean? So, I guess based on that, I'm getting some more figures. I want to make sure we're doing what's right. We need to bring in more tax money, and if we can do that on the turbines, I think that's a good idea. But I think we should make sure that we have the exact figures and numbers to make sure that we're doing the right thing. So, my motion will be to table this as of now.
Okay, it's been motioned to table the repealing the Tama County ordinance in regards to Iowa Code 427B.26. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to table this action item. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is for us to go into closed session for discussion and possible action under Iowa Code 21.5.1, G 21.5.1, H, and 21.5.1I.
Can we recess first for that? We're getting back to the question.
Okay, strike that. We're going to recess for just a little bit for a bathroom break. And then we will see if we're gonna go into closed session.
We'll get going. I'm going. Good, you?
It is specifically, and she knows it. She's been making cases. I don't care. If she can,
Not the first one though.
No.
You can text it, it's fine. So I texted my dad, he's like, no, it's on snow removal. He's like, there's no way they spent that money on snow removal these last 5 years. No, these don't.
That is a big story.
I didn't realize so much came from the state, the roads department.
Oh, yeah. And it needs to because the state gave her losing. So I'm good with that.
I'll go back, I don't want to,
Anything big happen with the 1 month? Anything surprising?
Sheriff actually
Oh,
does
thank
work.
you very much. I heard, what's his name? K-9 guy.
Yep, right in the mall.
Yeah,
Yep.
because
Yep, we didn't have, I put some feelers out for a while, and, there's only two other guys that applied. They showed interest. And,
Still going.
had conversations with both, or one of them decided he wanted to wait.
Forward that if you want to.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I thought it said that to me, so he had said it to me.
I believe just this morning, I got the answer back from the interview, the Tama kid, who just got the dog. So, and the meeting to do that,
But they
finally got that going and stuff, so. So how,
His dog's back to work.
yeah, I heard there was, he got sick or something like that, so he's been off.
I don't think they know what's going on.
Who knows, not, you know. Good to hear he's back to work though. What's the kind of process we start on thing?
Basically, I mean, we have the squad, we have everything ready.
Yeah.
It's gotta get the fundraising, it's a donation-based program, get the fundraising to where we need to be. And then, once we have the appropriate amount of funds, we'll find, we already have a kennel where we got Tyson.
I would imagine.
So, they seem to be pretty good at
I think there's a mix.
selecting dogs for our needs. So, once we get that done, we'll be able to hold the trigger. Send them to training, that's the other thing, is obviously we're down a deputy right now, my spot, but hopefully, training about 10 weeks, 10 to 14 weeks, depending on what you get.
Now, is that a specialized training or does he do like multiple things?
It's a specialized, well, so there's like a control section of training.
Because I wasn't sure if he was just to do one thing.
No, there's a patrol section and a narcotics section it's kind of usually the narcotics section is anywhere between 2 and 4 weeks long. Because believe it or not, it's actually fairly easy to imprint a dog on an odor. It's just that all it really is repetition. You see the pile of Kleenex he's got?
I know, I would step back from him too. I helped my brother walk by.
It's actually kind of nice not having to but yeah, once they do the narcotics section, then they'll go to the pile. And then that's a much lengthier process than the narcotics section.
I heard somewhere that they have dogs down that can smell electronics. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
That's messed up.
Yeah, there's dogs that, the Minnesota Department of Research uses for, they have dogs that are specialized at sniffing out the zebra mussels. I mean, it's actually kind of wild. You can train a dog to be and it does not take
Okay, we're going to resume. Our recess is over. Where we were at, we're possible closed session for discussion of possible action under Iowa Code 2151G, 2151H, and 2151I. We need a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make that motion.
It's been moved. I'll second it. Been moved and seconded to go into closed session. Roll call.
Hilmer?
Aye.
Turner?
Aye.
Nibble?
Aye.
Dolan?
Aye.
Becca?
Aye.
Okay. We will have a few agenda items remaining, so the public would be dismissed until we can call you back in.
How long do you think it'll be, Mark?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Again, we will take a motion to go out of closed session. Then move and second to go out of closed session. Do a roll call.
Hilmer?
Aye.
Okay, we still have a few items on the agenda. We are now out of closed session based on the Discussion, those in closed session, are there any motions to propose?
I would like to make a motion to end the employment and all appointments of Tammy Wise effective end of business day today.
It's been moved, is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Here's how that passes 3-2. Next we'll have discussion and approve claims.
We have claims in the amount of 1,300, just, I'll do the numbers, 138, 485, period, 01. $138,485.01.
Was that a motion?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve claims. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comments? Anybody from the public wish to speak?
All I can say is, you people don't have a clue. You just let Tammy go. She has been a big asset to this county. And just because she tries to keep you people in line, you don't like it, so you fire her. You're about the most arrogant pieces of shit I've ever seen.
Who were the two nays? I couldn't hear. Who? Thank you.
Any other comments?
I got one. On, road expenses. Can I talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything?
I know, a couple of years ago, we were talking about, I brought it up, and the amount of salt that they put in with the sand, the mix, it can be adjusted, you know? I think Tama County puts in quite a bit of salt. And, I don't know how much that would affect the budget, but, and the reason I think about this is up in Alaska, their winters are 2 months longer than ours. They don't put salt on the roads, just sand. And, in town and out in the country, and, you know, and they don't use any salt at all. If they can get by without salt, I would think we would. But then there's probably state, rules that you'd have to abide by too. I don't know about that.
I just think that, I hear what you're saying, we're 3 buckets to 1 bucket.
3 sand to 1 salt. But we have to spend 80% of that what you budgeted, so right, we have to take that.
Salt
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's something that, yeah. With contracts with the salt mines, we have to use it anyway. We gotta, what you buy, you gotta use 80% of it. It's a little deeper than you think, you know. But, I don't know what Casey thinks, but pretty dangerous out there. I think we probably have more cars than they do too, and more traffic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I personally, when I was a truck driver, I'd rather have more salt.
Okay, I just thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah, no, that's a good, it's a question,
Okay.
but I don't know if that's a place where we want to.
Well, I think they put snow tires on them too.
Well, you should do that then. It's a little.
Studded tires.
Oh.
Oh, go ahead, Karen.
Another question, or another comment, different topic. It's really hard what you guys are doing. So I've been here a lot in the last 3.5 years, and I don't wanna be in your seats, and what you're doing is extremely difficult, and you can't make any friends doing it, and I appreciate what all 5 of you are doing your discussions, your thinking, your deep thinking. Thank you so much. It's not even over, but thank you very, very much for trying to get this county back out of the hole.
Do you guys plan to refill her position, or are we going to be looking at alternative options like possibly, I can't think of the word, outsourcing to another county that shares human resource things, or will all the duties fall to individual departments like it had before? Do you guys know how you're moving forward with those duties?
Can't really answer that question. The only thing is that we will address that. Laura?
Laura Capsa from Tama, and I think you've done a grievance to the county. Tammy was a long, dedicated employee with 25 plus years of experience, knowledge, and she cared about the county. And I think you've done something very, very bad, and the county will pay for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just want to make a comment concerning the financial situation the county's in. I'd like to know in the future why we, as the people in the county, didn't realize that the last 2 years we've been overspending by $6 million. Why has the public not been informed to know that we needed to have taken steps last year, not wait till this year when we're in the red? So
I guess I can be about the only one to answer that, but Beth, the outside auditor, she came in and talked to Laura and I guess what was the meeting was we need to tighten around the belt. And me personally, I'm not sure how Dan and Bill looked at it, but like I said, from the first year I was in, not knowing anything basically about that, as long as those budgets came in 3%, 5% from the year back, in my mind, I thought we're in good shape. I mean, we're going, and we did button up a little. I mean, we did button up a little bit. I just wish and I'm not blaming anybody, but I wish she was threw red flags at me. When I left that meeting, I didn't understand how bad we were. It was bad. She told us we were trending downward, and we should just tighten our belts a little bit. And I thought I was doing that as representative, keeping the budgets of the department heads in line. So I feel terrible. And a lot of the stuff's not on this paper, but Karen and I talked in front of people and everything, and I just need them down on paper. Amendments is a big issue apparently. Department heads comes in for an amendment to get more money. Well, we just all okayed it. I mean, I didn't know we were in bad shape. Apparently the other two didn't either. But I'd like to have that on paper, and I can add all that money up. Another issue is the taxes. I mean, the state hasn't been doing us any favors at all. Cities, counties, everybody. 2022-23, we had $500,000 with tax credits, and that went to zero in the last 2 years. And I believe there's a couple other areas that they're not helping us out as much. So that's a big one. I do definitely want to say, I've said this multiple times, I really don't believe the raises are the big part of this. I came in and I was really behind the raises for the employees. We were behind terribly, but I think that's a drop in a bucket to what our, that wouldn't have set a red flag up to me anyway, because that figure's that's in $100,000,
To me though, looking at a budget of 26 million, to have overspent by 6 million, that is a huge percentage. And you shouldn't have to worry about it now. That was 2-3 years down the road. But you can't change that. it's what can you do
Right.
now?
Right.
And with the, you know, limitations from the state as far as the amount of taxes you can increase, there's gonna have to be cuts to, basically stay afloat. You know, and the people in the county need to know what's going on.
Right.
So,
Yep.
and I appreciate, you guys got a tough job. Thanks, guys.
I just wanted to respond as far as why wasn't the public notified. This was published in the newspaper. Of course, I don't go back to the legal, you know, I am a taxpayer in the county. I don't go back to the legals every time I'm trying to figure out what we did, you know, what we've got going on. So the first thing I wanted to know when we started to have these, issues come up a couple of weeks ago was to go to this. And when I looked at it, to start out 2 years ago with a budget, ending fund balance of $14 million to go down, and this was planned to go in the hole, $950,000. I don't know why anybody would have approved this. It would either only be for two reasons: one, incompetence, or two, that this was done intentionally. And we don't know the answer to that.
Are you going to be looking for an answer?
Absolutely, because how can we fix it unless we know what the answers are?
And I think that's, when the first meeting came about, we were asking a lot of questions, and Karen puts a lot of time and effort into this, and she got a lot of pressure on her, you know, and by wanting to find out what happened, we're not blaming anybody. But like amendments, I need that figures, numbers, so I can, you know, say, hey, we had $1 million worth of amendments that year. Okay, now okay, that's $1 million that we're talking about. Not knowing that stuff is what we need to find out. It's definitely gonna be more work for Karen, but, we definitely are not blaming anybody right now. I mean, it's just, we gotta find out why.
Yeah, we will investigate, and we'll let the facts lead where they may, and we'll make them available to the public as soon as we know.
But I think the most important thing is that it was nice having that department meeting on Friday. And while me personally, I don't think it's gonna be beneficial at this point in time to point fingers. I think identifying the issue, fixing the issue, and then moving forward collectively for what's best for everybody is what, I mean, it's not gonna be fun, and it's not gonna be pretty, but I think moving forward, we know what needs to happen as department heads. And yeah, it may not be pretty, but we're gonna move forward, and we're gonna make it better than it has been.
Absolutely.
And I attended the state supervisors meeting last week. We're not the only county in this, but we're one of the few. There are a lot of unfunded mandates. What that means is the state says you have to do this, and oh, by the way, we're not paying for it. One of them is in his area, he puts people in jail that need a lot of medical stuff. I'm not saying don't put them in jail, but you know, we paid, what was it, almost $250,000, but that was just for juveniles, just for juveniles. And we just had a bill for $34,000 and change for one juvenile, in Eldora. So, and there's actually a move afoot to try and get the federal government to give a waiver to keep people on Medicare, Medicaid, whichever fund they happen to be on. But I talked to the director of communications, and it was in front of all the other supervisors, and she basically said the only thing that they don't pay for medication and other things. So again, just because we might get that waiver doesn't mean our problems go away. So make sure they're really helping before we slam them in jail.
And that's where, you know, we have to be very careful too on, you know, especially with the jail, there's certain contracts that we have that are needed because it stops, you know, if the sheriff's office or county in general were to get sued, it's mainly gonna come from our jail. That's where most of the lawsuits come from. We have certain things that are, I mean, they're not cheap, but it's one thing that we're just gonna have to navigate and figure out what the best course of action is. And, you know, like I said, it's not gonna be pretty, but I'm confident that we're gonna be just fine moving forward. It's just gonna take a lot of work and time.
And I wasn't throwing the sheriff under the bus. It's not his fault,
That'd have to be a
there's
big bus.
judicial issues, there's lack of magistrates, there's lack of, getting people out of jail into a physical health facility. I mean, there's a lot of other factors that impact these things, and we're gonna do a deep dive and fix them.
Just last example, that was like, I apologize, I think we had 40,000 budgeted for that deal there, and we're up $250,000 now, so that's a huge over budget compared to economic development budget comes in and goes up 3%, or the Veterans Affair goes up 5%. That is huge, having $40,000 and then getting kicked in the rear end for $250,000. So again, I'm not making excuses. I agree with, not very often I agree, but I agree with our sheriff that we will, we're all right. We will do what we need to do, and we'll come out better.
Thanks, guys.
Any other public comments?
Is there any plans for economic development for the county? Or what
What
is?
do you mean by that? Sorry.
I mean, is there any programs or grants or anything that they're trying to look more businesses or?
Oh yes, she's very busy.
But we don't see anything.
Well,
I mean, we don't see any
the towns,
results.
the towns do a look. I mean, like Dicer, I think 2 of the businesses got 25,000 a year or two ago.
I know Traeger's got.
Traeger's got them. Now is it boom, making everything boom? I don't know, but it's that they're help. That they're helping. We just don't see it.
I mean, that's that's an income that you could have if you get, taxpayers to come in here.
Yep. Yep.
So, and I'm on that board, but typically what happens is, what decisions get made today and they get brought in, you don't see them until 2 or 3 years later because of planning and investments and construction and so forth. So, but they are actively going out there for grants. They told me they bring in about $1 million worth of stuff every year, but like I said, I wanna see them.
Yeah.
So we'll get there.
There's a deep dive everywhere, and so just to even enlighten David, we are all members of the Economic Development Board. According to the 2080 agreement and their bylaws, all 5 supervisors are voting members of their board. We've appointed David because that's what's been done in the past. We didn't know that's what was I guess outlined in the organizational documents, and so that's why I've asked for the 2080 agreements and the organizational documents, the bylaws, to understand how the government works in Tama County, and the all of these intergovernment boards that are held together by 2080 agreements and political subdivisions. And some of them are outlined in state code, such as the Conservation Board, as well as the 911 operations, as well as the, but they also have 2080 agreements with EMA. So trying to understand, I've spent a lot of hours trying to figure out what is the relationship, and one of the things that came out of that is we're all supposed to be board members on that board, to make decisions for economic development, rather than just have one appointee.
I have a question. Is there anything that we can do, because, we're also involved, and we've all been here for a long time. Is there anything we can do or say to people that would help?
In regards
To the questions that we get asked every day, well, it won't went on a supervisor meeting, and now it's gonna be a lot more questions, and well, are we really broke? Just, what can we do?
In the interim, we're gonna try to put together a plan to fund our ongoing expenses till the end of the year, and at least get us until we start bringing in some more tax revenue, April 1st. And from there, that's the first part of this. The other part of the planning is to adjust our budget for next year so that we're not in this situation ever again. close public comment, need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It's been moved to adjourn,
Second.
seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to adjourn.
Have a good week, all.
Hope you feel better soon, Kurt. Break the window?
Oh, what is that?
You don't have anything in the back?
Yeah.
I didn't miss that.
That's the